Chris Graham with Trailblazer RV, here to take you through this 2019 RV Care approved Coachmen Northern Spirit 2342BH. Starting right here at the front of the trailer, where you've got your propane and battery systems. To access the propane valves, you can open the flap on the cover, or just pull up to remove the whole cover. You've got two 20-pound propane tanks here. Both of these are full right now, and an automatic switchover propane regulator. Currently pointing at this bottle, making this the supply bottle and this the reserve bottle. As long as the valves are both open, the regulator will deplete the supply bottle first, then automatically switch over and start to pull from the reserve bottle. Once that happens, these green indicators will change to red, and you can flip the regulator over to the other bottle, remove the first bottle, and go and refill it without shutting down your propane system. This one has a battery upgrade on it. It is a Group 31 RV battery. So it's a 12-volt deep cycle battery with two leads going to it, red to positive and black to negative. It's a flooded wet cell battery, so it requires a little bit of maintenance. Beneath this sticker, you'll find 6 cells, and you'll want to check the water level in those cells a couple of times a year. If it looks a little bit low, and especially if you can see metal plates sticking through the cells, you'll want to top that up with some distilled water and put a good charge on the battery. This RV has a solar panel system installed on it, but it's installed right into the RV's electrical system, so it charges through the same leads as the battery leads. We recommend for winter storage, even with the solar panel, removing the battery, storing it inside somewhere where it's not going to freeze, and ideally putting a trickle charge on it once over the course of the off season. Here at the front storage compartment is where we'll find our 30 amp power cord. Many sites that you visit will have 30 amp power, but some won't, so we also supply a 15 amp park adapter. You've got access from either side in your storage compartment to your fishing pole storage, which runs the entire width of the storage compartment. Right here behind the storage compartment is where you'll fill your freshwater tank. You can do that with a garden hose, or better yet, one of those white drinking water specific hoses, so you don't get the garden hose taste in your water. And right below that, you'll find your freshwater tank drain. So you can open that up to drain the water from the tank. And as you can see, that tank is full right now, or at least has a little bit of water in it. Here at your running gear, your tires are inflated to 65 psi. It's marked on the side of the sidewall 65 psi cold, and we do recommend running them right at 65 psi. Also, your lug nuts have been torqued to 100 foot-pounds. We recommend periodically retorquing your lug nuts, as well as repacking your wheel bearings. This one has easy lube axles, so behind this center cap is a grease zerk that you can use a grease gun to grease your inner and outer wheel bearings. That prolongs your bearing repack intervals, so instead of repacking wheel bearings every year, as long as you give it some fresh grease once in a while, you can probably repack wheel bearings every 3 to 5 years. Right above that is where you've got your TV or your cable TV and satellite hookups. Your city water connection, so if you're staying at a site that has pressurized water, you can hook your drinking water hose right up to here with a water pressure regulator, we recommend, so as not to over pressurize your water lines. And next to that, you have a second hose connection. Don't confuse this one with this one, because this is your sewer tank flush system. So when you're dumping your holding tanks, which we'll cover in just a second, you can hook your garden hose up to this and flush out the inside of that black holding tank. Right next to that is where that 30 amp power cord attaches. Your hot water tank is located right here. This is a gas electric DSI hot water tank. So no pilot lights to worry about or anything. From outside here, you can drain the hot water tank for the winter by removing the drain plug right here. Before you do that, you'll want to bleed the pressure off of the tank using the pressure relief valve so that it doesn't spray when you pull the plug. No need for a anode rod with this style of tank. This is a glass lined tank rather than a metal lined tank, so it doesn't need the anode rod to prevent corrosion. You got an outside spray port here and a coiled up hose with a sprayer on it that can attach here or to the outside kitchen on the other side. And here at the back is where you'll dump your holding tanks. So when you go to dump your holding tanks, hook your sewer hose up right here. We supply a new 20-foot medium heavy-duty sewer hose. It's stored here in the rear bumper. Other end of the hose goes into the ground, obviously, and then you've got two valves, your larger black valve and smaller gray valve. Always dump the black valve first, that's your sewer, and while you have that valve open, you can use your sewer tank flush system. Once that's finished draining, you can close this valve and open the gray valve, and that will drain your gray water, your sink and shower water, and kind of use that gray water to flush all of the sewage content through the sewer hose, so there's nothing left in that hose when you have to remove it. Make sure to replace the travel cap before leaving the dump station, and you're all done. Here at the back of the trailer, you got access to your bike door. So open that up. The bottom bunk bed lifts up to make room for storage for the bikes or larger items out here. Spare tire is not mounted on the back on this trailer. It does come with a spare tire. It's mounted beneath the A-frame up at the front. And I always just like to point out that the trailer doesn't come with a jack or a wheel wrench. So you just want to check the wheel wrench that your tow vehicle has to make sure that it fits these lug nuts, just in case you ever do need to change a tire on the fly. Storage compartment underneath here. This is also where that solar charge controller has been installed. So that has a readout showing your current battery voltage and also amperage that you're charging at, which right now isn't very much because the battery is basically charged anyway and it's an overcast day. There's also a separate panel for that inside, so you don't have to come out here and open up the storage compartment to check that. Here's where you have your fridge vent. The panel can be removed to access the back of the fridge for cleaning or maintenance of the fridge, but it's mostly just there for a vent, not really very often that you would ever need to get back there. There's a drip tube that sticks through the fridge vent, and that is deliberate. That's supposed to stick out of the fridge vent. This is for condensation droplets to drop out of here. That way it drains down outside rather than accumulating in the fridge vent. Right here is your furnace exhaust. The only thing really to know about this is when the furnace is operating, this gets very hot, so make sure that kids know not to touch that. And right here is where you'll find your outside kitchen. So you can extend the outside kitchen like so. 2-burner propane stovetop, but this is not permanently connected to the propane system. You will have to connect this by using the quick connect, propane quick connect, and hooking that up right underneath here. So once you've hooked that up, you'll need to turn the valve on before any propane will flow. The water faucet has two different attachments, a standard high-rise faucet or the high-pressure sprayer, which can also be used at the other side at the spray port. To put this back, you'll notice it's latched out. To put this back, press up on the wedge and slide it back into place. awning is a height adjustable power awning. I'll show you that from right inside. And to get inside, just reach under the step, grab the step, and roll, and then flip. So flip, roll for your step. The door on this one has the hydraulic strut, so no need to latch the door open. And your awning controls are going to be right here on the central control panel. So if we press the awning extend button, the awning will extend 8 feet. It's a height adjustable power awning, so both arms can be adjusted. Typically though, you would only adjust one to lower it down to control where your rainwater runs off. So if you lower the side furthest from the door, you can divert that rainwater away from the door. Before you retract the awning, we recommend putting both arms back up to the full height. That will ensure that the canvas rolls up straight on the roller tube. And come on inside the trailer. I'll show you a few more things. Also, right here at the main control panel is your switch for your lights, your main living area lights, your entry door light just outside the door, and your LED awning light. This is also where you'll activate your hot water heater on electricity if you're plugged into power, or gas if you're not plugged into power. And we should be able to hear that not the first sound, but the second sound was the hot water tank lighting up on propane. It'll take about 20 or 25 minutes before that water is hot enough to use. Shut that off for now. This is also where you'll activate your water pump if you're not hooked up to city water and operating off of the freshwater reserve. And this is where you'll check the level of your battery, which is right now completely charged. Freshwater tank, which is still 2/3 full, and black and gray holding tanks, which are both empty. This trailer does not have a second gray holding tank, so this this button isn't used on this model. Here at the kitchen, you've got a 3-burner gas stovetop. So all 3 of these burners can be lit using the piezo sparker. And always recommend immediately after reconnecting your propane system, when you change out a propane bottle or something, the first thing that you should do is come in here and light all 3 of these burners. Once you can light all 3 burners, you know you've bled any air on that propane system off of the lines, and you won't have any problems with your automatic appliances, your fridge, furnace, and hot water tank. Your oven has a pilot light that you'll need to light right underneath there. So turn the oven knob over to the pilot emblem and push in on that oven knob. Then you can use the same piezo sparker to light the oven pilot. And that just takes a second to get some propane through there. There we go. Once you can see a pilot flame, continue to hold the pilot knob down for 10 or 15 seconds for the thermocouple to heat up. And once you release that and the flame stays on, you can turn it up to temperature and you're good to go. Once you're finished using the oven, you can turn it back down to pilot and just leave the pilot burning, or you can turn it all the way off and just simply relight the pilot next time you need to use it. The switch next to that is to activate your blue backlit oven knobs. Your fridge is an automatic gas electric fridge. Turn it to the on position, and we recommend just always leaving it in automatic. Whenever it's in automatic, if it has electricity available, it will run on that. But if you lose power, it'll sense that and it'll automatically start up on gas. You can override the automatic to only run on gas, and you might actually find that the fridge cools a little faster on gas than it does on electricity. Having said that, it does take several hours for the fridge to cool down, so we recommend getting that fridge started cooling the day before loading it up to make sure that it's nice and cold when you load your food into it. Right above that is that secondary remote panel for the solar charging system. So we can see right now that our battery's at 100%, 13.8 volts, which is completely charged for a 12 volt battery. Right here on the wall next to the fridge is your thermostat. This will control both the heating and air conditioning systems for the RV. So if you turn it on and toggle it over to cooling mode, you'll need to be plugged into power for the air conditioner to kick on, but you can set whatever temperature you're comfortable at and the air conditioner will just cycle on and off as needed. For heating, if we crank that up to a temperature that's not comfortable for anybody, we should hear the furnace fan kick on. The fan comes on immediately, but the burner is going to take 15 or 20 seconds before it lights up. And you should be able to hear the DSI spark when that happens. There we go. So now we can hear the furnace running. In a few seconds we would have warm air blowing from our vents. Once it comes up to temperature, or you turn off the system, the burner goes out immediately, but that fan is going to continue to run for another 30 seconds to a minute just to go through its cycle. Right below the fridge is your power converter. This is the power center for the entire RV. So you'll find all of your 110 volt breakers for your AC circuits here, and your fuses for your 12 volt DC circuits as well. And you've got a bit of a variety of fuses here, mostly 15 amps, but a 5, a 10, and some 40s as well. So not a bad idea to have some assorted fuses along with you. It's not uncommon to blow a fuse in an RV. If you have some fuses available, it won't be a big deal if you need to change one in the campground. Your water pump in this trailer is located underneath the dinette seat, and there is a antifreeze siphon kit already installed on the water pump. So there's a valve there that you can turn to pump antifreeze from the siphon line right from the antifreeze jug. So put the siphon line into the jug, turn on the water pump, and you can pump directly through the water system. You'll also want to bypass your hot water tank, and the hot water tank is accessed by removing this panel by pulling these two screws, and there is bypass valves on the back of the tank to bypass the tank so that you can run antifreeze through your cold water lines and your hot water lines without filling that tank. Here in the bathroom, only a couple of things to show you. You have a GFI power outlet in here, so same as the ones in the bathroom in your home with a test and reset button. Only difference in an RV is this is wired in series with several of your other power outlets. So if you're ever plugged into power and you don't have any power from your outlets, there's a good chance that you've tripped your GFI. Come in here, press the reset button, and everything should go back to normal. With the sewer system, anytime you're using your RV's sewer system, you'll want to make sure and use a good potent RV toilet chemical. Comes in powder, liquid, or tablet form. Whichever you use, you can add it to the tank right through the toilet bowl. Pour some chemical into the bowl, and then use the foot flush. Push halfway down on the foot flush to fill the bowl with water, and then the rest of the way to dump the whole works into the tank. It takes a little bit of water to activate that chemical, so every time you add chemical to the tank, you'll want to make sure and add some water down with it. And you'll want to add chemical to the tank immediately after every time you dump that black holding tank. I think that's about it in the bathroom. Your stereo system works on 12 volt power, and this is AM, FM, CD, DVD, USB, auxiliary, and Bluetooth. Also has near field communication. If you have a phone that supports that, you can just hold your phone up to the Furrion logo and it will sync automatically. There's also 2 speaker zones. Zone 1 is your interior speakers. Zone 2 is your exterior speakers. Make sure if you're watching a DVD that you have your Zone 2 disabled so that you're not playing that sound of the movie through your exterior speakers. Even though this is 12 volt powered, the TV is 110 volt powered. So if you're watching a DV, you will need to be plugged into power or a generator to utilize the TV. Propane leak detector is right here near the floor, and this is a combination propane and carbon monoxide detector. So it'll actually do 3 things. It will alert you to a potential propane leak. However, if you had a propane leak in the RV, you would almost certainly smell the propane before the alarm goes off. It could also alert you to a carbon monoxide situation, in which case you wouldn't smell anything. And the third thing that it can do is alert you to a low voltage situation. If your RV battery gets very low, this will chirp to alert you to that, similar to what a smoke detector does to alert you to its low battery. And you have a smoke detector as well, right here above my head. This is not wired into the RV's electrical system. It has its own 9 volt battery. So you want to test that periodically just to make sure that that battery hasn't gone dead. Your front Murphy bed folds down just by folding the couch down, removing this pin, folding the base down, and then the mattress is folded in half behind the bed base. I think, for the most part, that pretty much covers it. Hopefully you've learned something about the 2019 Coachmen Northern Spirit 2342BH. If you have any questions, you can always get a hold of us here at Trailblazer, or you can check our website, trailblazerrv.com. Thanks.